diferencia. En Estados Unidos, cada estado es un sistema indirecto, cada estado nombra lo que ellos denominan unos electores al colegio electoral, que es el nacional, y en el colegio electoral es donde estos electores se encargan de elegir quién será el presidente. Cada estado tiene un número fijo de electores que está determinado por dos básicos que tiene todo el mundo, que es el equivalente a las sillas que tienen en el Senado, más el número de representantes que tengan en la Cámara de Representantes, y eso está determinado por la cantidad de personas que tiene el Estado. Entonces, entre más personas tenga el Estado, más votos electorales va a tener. La razón, digamos, por la que tienen este sistema tan complicado es porque en el momento en el que se estaba constituyendo el ordenamiento legal estadounidense, ellos tuvieron muchas dudas acerca de si querían que el presidente lo escogiera, como si sucede en los sistemas parlamentarios, el Congreso, o si querían que fuese voto popular. Y como no se pudieron poner de acuerdo, optaron por una vía media que le diera más representación a los estados más poblados, y que de esa forma, digamos, se constituyera en un sistema que le da voz al voto popular, porque no es que lo ignore completamente, pero que no le da la decisión final. Ahora, el problema, a diferencia de lo que mucha gente piensa, no es realmente el colegio electoral, porque esos sistemas indirectos existen en muchas partes y funcionan. El problema es que después de que se inventaron el colegio electoral, le dejaron la autonomía a los estados de que decidiera cómo quería transformar el voto popular en el número de delegados o el número de electores que van al colegio electoral. Y la gran mayoría de los estados, con excepción de dos, tomaron la decisión de que el ganador del voto popular se llevaba a todos los electores de su estado, lo que quiere decir que si usted, por ejemplo, tiene un estado en el que Biden ganó por 50% y Trump perdió solamente por 49%, no se distribuyen proporcionalmente los delegados, sino que Biden, que es el nacional, y en el colegio electoral es donde estos electores se encargan de elegir quién será el presidente. Cada estado tiene un número fijo de electores que está determinado por dos básicos que tiene todo el mundo, que es el equivalente a las sillas que tienen en el Senado, más el número de representantes que tengan en la Cámara de Representantes, y eso está determinado por la cantidad de personas que tiene el Estado. Entonces, entre más personas tenga el Estado, más votos electorales va a tener. La razón, digamos, por la que tienen este sistema tan complicado es porque en el momento en el que se estaba constituyendo el ordenamiento legal estadounidense, ellos tuvieron muchas dudas acerca de si querían que el presidente lo escogiera, como si sucede en los sistemas parlamentarios, el Congreso, o si querían que fuese voto popular. Y como no se pudieron poner de acuerdo, optaron por una vía media que le diera más representación a los estados más poblados, y que de esa forma, digamos, se constituyera en un sistema que le da voz al voto popular, porque no es que lo ignore completamente, pero que no le da la decisión final. Ahora, el problema, a diferencia de lo que mucha gente piensa, no es realmente el colegio electoral, porque esos sistemas indirectos existen en muchas partes y funcionan. El problema es que después de que se inventaron el colegio electoral, le dejaron la autonomía a los estados de que decidiera cómo quería transformar el voto popular en el número de delegados, el número de electores que van al colegio electoral. Y la gran mayoría de los estados, con excepción de dos, tomaron la decisión de que el ganador del voto popular se llevaba a todos los electores de su estado, lo que quiere decir que si usted, por ejemplo, tiene un estado en el que Biden ganó por 50% y Trump perdió solamente por 49%, no se distribuyen proporcionalmente los delegados, sino que Biden se lleva todos los delegados de ese estado. Esa característica particular es lo que produce esos resultados tan disfuncionales en los que el voto popular va por un lado y el voto de los electores va por otro distinto, que fue lo que pasó hace 4 años cuando pues, Hillary Clinton ganó por una diferencia de 3 millones de votos y sin embargo el que quedó elegido fue el presidente Trump.
Así es, Sandra. Es decir, la respuesta si gana el que obtiene más votos en Estados Unidos es no, ¿sí? Como sucedió en el caso de 2016, fueron 3 millones de votos por encima de los que obtuvo Hillary Clinton y aún así Trump se llevó la victoria. Sucedió también en el año 2000 cuando Bush fue elegido presidente a pesar de obtener menos votos que Al Gore, ¿sí?
Entonces, aclarando, sin embargo, que no pasa siempre, ¿no? Solamente en todas las elecciones históricas, solamente en 5 ocasiones ha quedado de presidente la persona que no ha obtenido la mayoría del voto popular. 3.8. Ahí hay una diferencia de un poco, de más o menos 4 puntos, y eso es una diferencia que yo creo que a Trump le va a costar un poco de trabajo cerrar. Si los resultados de Arizona, la tendencia de Arizona se mantiene, y digamos, existen cambios en Wisconsin, en Michigan y eventualmente en Pensilvania, digamos, el número de delegados se puede empezar a inclinar con un poco más de contundencia hacia Biden. Todos esos estados que están en este momento sin resultados contundentes, Georgia, Carolina del Norte, Pensilvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, son todos estados claves, porque cualquier diferencia que haya a favor de Biden sumado a esto de Arizona puede alterar la balanza sustancialmente. Entonces el conteo de aquí en adelante va a ser, digamos, como para comerse las uñas por el resto del día.
Así es, Sandra. Creemos que de pronto dentro de estos estados que vemos todavía que no hay una diferencia contundente, muchos de ellos son los estados bisagra, que son aquellos donde la gente no siempre tiende a votar por el mismo partido, ¿sí? Entre esos están Florida, Ohio, Georgia, Pensilvania, Carolina del Norte, Colorado, Arizona y Iowa. Ahí cabe resaltar un poco en materia de resultados el tema de Ohio, porque hay un dicho en Estados Unidos que dice que quien gana Ohio gana las elecciones. ¿Por qué? Porque eso ha sido así desde 1964, de tradición ni demócrata ni republicana, pero ¿qué está pasando en este momento en Ohio, donde ya vemos de alguna manera resultados que tienden hacia la victoria de Trump?
Sí, Ohio se comportó en una forma muy particular ayer, forma en la que otros estados se comportaron, y es que empezó dándole una gran ventaja a Joe Biden en una muy buena parte, porque los primeros votos que se cuentan y aparecen registrados son los votos de los centros urbanos, y si uno abre los mapas de cada estado, fácilmente se va a dar cuenta, como sucedió hace 4 años, que los centros urbanos, las grandes ciudades y las ciudades intermedias tienden a ser demócratas, mientras que los distritos o los condados mucho más rurales tienden a votar republicano. Esa es la razón por la cual siempre se registra primero en este tipo de estados indecisos, se registra primero la votación a favor de los demócratas, y luego la cosa empieza a cambiar. Y ya llegó al punto en el que varios medios de comunicación estadounidenses ya le adjudican el estado de Ohio a Trump. La diferencia es una diferencia ya sustancial, con básicamente casi todos tienen 90% de los votos contados. La ventaja que tiene Donald Trump es del 53.3% de los votos, mientras que Joe Biden tiene solamente 45.2%. Así que creo que los delegados de ese estado ya definitivamente se le van a ir a Trump. Ahí, digamos, esa parte del país, si quienes nos están viendo miran el mapa, es lo que se denomina el cinturón de óxido, que es el Rust Belt, que es una forma de llamar a estos estados industriales, o bueno, que fueron industriales en un momento determinado, y donde la clase trabajadora es tremendamente importante a la hora de votar. Ese es el tipo de electorado que Trump siempre ha dicho que representa, que es un electorado agraviado por la globalización, agraviado por el libre comercio, porque se han quedado
a partir de hoy,
sin empleos, los empleos de la industria automotriz y de otras industrias que residían en estos estados, y siempre se sugiere que
es la
un
figura
efecto de contaminación, que si Ohio
de Donald Trump, quien
vio
es un neoyorquino
los dos partidos, normalmente los otros siguen, pero lo que estamos viendo hoy es que Ohio está definido, pero
¿Qué tal el voto
Pensilvania,
afroamericano?
Michigan,
¿Se sintió en las urnas?
todavía siguen muy pendientes. Fíjense, por ejemplo, que Wisconsin en este momento está, o sea, es una cosa absolutamente increíble. Tienen 97% de los votos reportados, contados. Joe Biden tiene 49.5% y Donald Trump tiene 48.8%. Tienen menos de un...
Con Barack Obama obviamente salieron en cantidades masivas, eso le ayudó tremendamente. Con Hillary Clinton no tanto. Con Hillary Clinton no era un favorito. Votaron por ella cuando salían a votar. Hillary Clinton salían a votar con tanto entusiasmo. Joe Biden supuestamente iba a cambiar eso, Primero por ser vicepresidente de Barack Obama, y segundo porque en las primarias él captó el voto afroamericano. Va a ser interesante, especialmente como en sitios como Michigan y Wisconsin y Pensilvania, que esos centros urbanos, Detroit, Filadelfia, Pittsburgh, Milwaukee, el voto afroamericano en esos sitios urbanos, si salieron en gran cantidad, es muy buena noticia para Biden. Si no salió, es mejor noticia para Trump. Yo no he visto todavía las estadísticas sobre eso.
Se hablaba antes de las elecciones de la interferencia extranjera en el proceso de votación. Antes se habló de denuncias contra Rusia, incluso mencionaron a Irán. ¿Qué tanta interferencia pudo haber existido en este proceso?
Yo creo que fue mínimo. Tenemos que mirar. Hay que recordar que la interferencia en nuestras elecciones nunca ha sido acusado de interferir en el conteo de votos, o sea, de manipular la votación. La manipulación era más en cuanto a noticias falsas, a websites falsas que estaban pasando información equivocada, tratando de influenciar el voto por los medios sociales. Hay tanto ruido en los medios sociales, de verdad es difícil todos los días decidir cuáles son noticias verdaderas y cuáles son falsas, porque hay tanto. Entonces, yo no he detectado ni he escuchado mucho en este año de una influencia fuerte extranjera en esas cosas.
¿Tú cuáles crees que son lo que reciba el mundo este triunfo de Donald Trump? Uno veía que lo que todo el mundo proyectaba era que iba a venir ahora sí un cambio, la política exterior iba a volver como a sus cauces normales. Un Trump, pues con estos resultados, si se queda, ¿cómo sería esos próximos 4 años?
Bueno, primero yo creo que el mensaje es que los Estados Unidos es complicado, es muy grande y variado, y yo creo que lo que se pinta en los medios, yo creo que en eso Donald Trump tiene un poquito de razón, lo que pinta en los medios muchas veces no es la verdad que se siente en todo este país. El país es distinto porque los medios son más reflejando la vida de los grandes ciudades y de las costas, menos del centro del país. Entonces, eso yo creo que es un mensaje. Otro es que estamos en un ambiente muy dividido y hemos sido por muchos años un país esencialmente 50-50. O sea, una votación masiva, una ganancia masiva en Estados Unidos puede ser 55-45 todavía, en cuanto a si uno tiene 10 personas y son 5, 4 y tal vez 1, todavía no es una declaración tremenda de apoyo de un lado a otro. Somos un país dividido. Esas divisiones son más fuertes y más agresivos que en el pasado. Y en eso Donald Trump ha alimentado esa división, aunque él no ha causado esa división. Esa división tiene raíces más profundos que han sido desarrollados tras los años. Pero sin duda Donald Trump sabe alimentar esa división. Somos un país con más ansiedad y más rabia uno contra otro. Y yo creo que para muchos la elección de Joe Biden hubiera sido una elección para volver a algo más normal, a un debate más normal, más civil, con menos agresión, con menos violencia. Pero vamos a ver, todavía es una situación muy delicada para este país.
Después de cada elección siempre surge la pregunta de si la democracia más grande del mundo podría ya pensar en cambiar su sistema electoral. Vuelven las críticas al colegio electoral, este sistema de elección, que no gane el voto popular y gane el voto electoral. ¿Cree que después de esta elección pues vuelva este debate y hay alguna posibilidad de modificar el colegio electoral?
Yo creo que definitivamente va a volver el debate. Yo tengo muy poca expectativa que ese puede cambiar o puede tener éxito ese cambios, porque el sistema colegio electoral fue diseñado y sí tiene un impacto que tiene una exageración poquito más a las zonas rurales y los estados pequeños, porque los electores son determinados por la cantidad de representantes en la Cámara, que es una división por población, más el Senado, y el Senado tiene 2 senadores por cada estado. Entonces, California, que es el más poblado, tiene 2 senadores. Wyoming tiene 2, muy poco poblado, tiene 2 senadores. Entonces, ofrece poquito más de poder político a las zonas rurales, los estados pequeños. Y fue diseñado a hacer eso, a no tener los centros urbanos dominando la vida política. Ahora, para cambiar la Constitución necesita 2/3 de los estados estar de acuerdo. Yo lo veo muy difícil que los estados pequeños, que son favorecidos con ese sistema, van a apoyar un cambio a favor de los centros urbanos que están reclamando con más respeto a su voto, porque son los votos urbanos y poblados que están haciendo la diferencia grande del voto total.
Si estas elecciones terminan en la Corte Suprema, ¿entraría a jugar ese cambio que hizo Donald Trump de los jueces, haber puesto jueces más conservadores en la Corte? ¿Eso le favorecería? ¿Eso cómo funcionaría?
En principio, no hay duda que reemplazar a juez Ginsburg, muy del lado demócrata izquierda, o la juez Barrett, la conservadora, sí puede afectar el resultado. Al mismo tiempo, uno nunca puede predecir cómo va a decidir un juez, aunque tiene una tendencia conservadora, no significa que tiene una tendencia partidaria. Tenemos que ver, tenemos que esperar a ver. Un caso frente a la Corte Suprema sería un caso basado en datos reales, o sea, hubo fraude, hubo cambio de baladas. Tendría que hacer, no es cuestión simplemente si los jueces son más republicanos o más demócratas. Hay que haber un caso con evidencia que muestre. Y yo creo que en eso tenemos que esperar que los jueces van a jugar un papel independiente de sus pensamientos personales. Normalmente una persona conservadora en los Estados Unidos no le gusta que el gobierno federal que controle todo, le da mucho más poder a los estados. Ese ha sido como el principio ideológico del movimiento conservador en los Estados Unidos. Más control al nivel estatal, menos al lado federal. Si uno sigue esa ideología, diría que más vamos a dejar a los estados hacer las decisiones, no vamos a interferir a nivel federal. Entonces hay mucha complicación, depende del caso, pero sí es mejor para Donald Trump que está la juez Barrett ahí, pero no es nada seguro.
Claro. Viendo de nuevo, volviendo al apoyo de los latinos, si Trump llegara a ganar, ¿cambiaría su política migratoria? Dado ese apoyo que recibió de los latinos.
Por ninguna manera. Yo creo que un error, y yo creo que sí ese fue exagerado un poquito en los medios, es que los latinos que están, hay que recordar que fuerte política contra la inmigración de Donald Trump principalmente ha sido contra la inmigración ilegal, no contra la inmigración legal, aunque sí ha indígenas eran la gente de México, los españoles entraron antes de la gente de Gran Bretaña o otros países. Entonces, hay muchos latinos en los Estados Unidos que han estado aquí por mucho tiempo, hay muchos que han estado como aquí legalmente. Ese grupo no no le gusta la retórica como feo de Donald Trump, pero no necesariamente es tan opuesto a tener controles legítimos sobre la inmigración ilegal, porque ellos también ven que ese tiene su impacto en la economía. Entonces yo creo que Donald Trump, y yo creo que por eso se equivocó poquito en pensar que el voto latino iba a ser casi completamente al lado de demócrata. Y él hizo, aunque es menos que Joe Biden, tenía mejor desempeño entre los latinos que esperaba. Pero yo creo que va a fortalecer Donald Trump en su política migratoria y puede ser muy duro para la política nuestra en la inmigración.
Lo único que tuvimos hoy claro cuando vimos los resultados esta mañana, no hay presidente, pero queda muy claro que el país está dividido y polarizado. ¿Cuánto tiempo se va a demorar Estados Unidos en superar esa polarización y ese odio interno?
Bueno, eso es una cuestión de millones. La polarización ha sido creciendo por muchos años ahora y ha sido alimentado por los medios sociales que crean esas divisiones, que exageran, que deja que la gente no respeten los puntos de vista del otro lado, que siempre piensan que ellos tienen toda la razón y el otro no tiene. Entonces esas divisiones y polarización ha sido creciendo tras los años. Yo no creo, y el éxito de Donald Trump es un ejemplo, como dije, él no creó esa polarización, pero definitivamente ha alimentado esa polarización y ha hecho con éxito. Entonces, yo tristemente no veo eso cambiando en el corto plazo. Yo creo que necesitamos un líder que llega con un discurso para calmar y para crear puentes y volver a tener una conversación civil. Yo pasé mucho tiempo en el exterior y regresé a mi país en el 2017 y la cosa que me sorprendió más que cualquier otro era el nivel del discurso, que la agresión, la rabia en la gente y la falta de respeto de uno a otro. Y eso creo que ha seguido creciendo en los últimos años. Ojalá que podamos cambiar eso. No vamos a cambiar con Donald Trump. Yo creo que aún Joe Biden como presidente, él va a intentar, pero creo que él va a enfrentar un país muy dividido y va a demorar un rato. Joe Biden, yo creo que va a ser la generación próxima, los nuevos líderes que van a tener que liderar ese cambio.
Si gana Donald Trump, veremos una mejor versión del presidente o seguirá fiel a su estilo, que es lo que al parecer le ha dado éxito.
Bueno, decir que es mejor o peor depende de su punto de vista. Yo creo que lo que vamos a ver es lo mismo, pero más empeorado. Entonces, si uno piensa que ese es un mejoramiento o empeoramiento, yo voy a dejar a cada persona hacer esa decisión. Pero sí hay preocupación. Él tiene un estilo de caudillo, donde él manda y él hace las decisiones y no escucha mucho a los expertos ni las instituciones tradicionales dentro del gobierno. Él tiene mucha fe en su propia percepción, en su propia manera de ser, de su gut, de lo que él piensa, y tiene mucha confianza en sí mismo. Y yo creo que vamos a ver aún más exagerado esas tendencias, porque todo el mundo le dio por muerto políticamente y y si él sale vivo, es como salió del COVID en 2 días.
Tal cual.
Un superhombre que puede superar cualquier reto. Entonces yo creo que vamos a hacer un Donald Trump aún más empoderado.
Bueno, Lorenzi, ya para terminar, entonces, ¿cuánto tiempo más o menos para volver a decirle a la gente que está conectada, vamos a tener el nombre del nuevo presidente?
Bueno, yo creo que hay que tener paciencia, tal vez tomar algún café. Tengo mi pozo de Colombia aquí.
Oh.
Porque eso no se va a resolver pronto. Si tenemos suerte, yo creo que otro 24 horas. Pero si no, puede demorar más y después los casos judiciales pueden tener impacto y puede significar que tenemos que esperar un mes.
Y ese nuevo nombre que salga después de toda la polémica que puede surgir, ¿qué legitimidad puede tener para gobernar?
Yo creo que va a entrar, va a ser un gobierno muy dividido, un país dividido. Yo creo que va a ser un país con 50% que piensan que su candidato fue el ganador y perdió. Y en un ambiente donde ha alimentado la agresión y violencia en los espacios públicos. Entonces, creo que va a ser un reto muy grande para cualquiera de los intentar calmar los aguas y intentar mandar un mensaje que es el presidente para todo el país y no va a gobernar como un presidente de solo 50% del país, sino de todos. Yo creo que Joe Biden es mejor posicionado para mandar ese mensaje. No sé si va a ser escuchado por otro lado, pero yo creo que Donald Trump no es su tendencia y yo creo que él va a seguir un discurso muy divisivo, aún o como presidente o como fuera de presidencia. Yo creo que vamos a vivir con Donald Trump en la plaza pública.
¿Se imaginó alguna vez llegar a este punto? Unas elecciones así de reñidas, en la incertidumbre que no se supiera el resultado.
Perdón, ¿sí había pasado antes?
No, sí, se había imaginado llegar a ese punto al que llegamos en estas elecciones.
Bueno, yo creo que estamos viviendo una época de Donald Trump, un mundo que nadie había imaginado hace 5 años. Entonces, yo creo que las elecciones reñidas siempre ha habido. Si recuerdan, Al Gore, cuando perdió en el año 2000 por una decisión del Corte de Florida, de los oficiales de Florida, él dijo que vamos a respetar eso porque es más importante el país y el respeto por las instituciones y la Constitución que cualquier candidato. Ese parece no como en el año 2000, sino como en el año 1800, en el ambiente que estamos ahora, que alguien está hablando de la importancia de la estabilidad, del respeto por las instituciones y la Constitución. Eso sí es algo que no sabemos si vamos a volver. Yo creo que Joe Biden va a intentar regresarnos a esa actitud, pero estamos en otro ambiente hoy día que éramos hace 20 años. Entonces, la esperanza es que podemos, sí, regresar a eso, pero tenemos que volver, tenemos que esperar a ver si eso pasa.
Bueno, Lorenz, muchísimas gracias. Le damos las gracias a todos los seguidores del espectador y bueno, nos veremos cuando haya resultado, Lorenz. Muchísimas gracias.
Definitivamente, gracias Angélica y todos los que están mirando por el espectador.
Chao.
Chao.
Hola, me llamo Diego Catalán y soy pintor, dibujante y profesor de anatomía artística. Mi obra se centra
Qu'est-ce qu'il y a? Tu as sommeil?
This election. We'll be going to the U.S. Supreme Court. We want all voting to stop. We don't want them to find any ballots at 4 o'clock in the morning and add them to the list, okay? It's a very sad moment. To me, this is a very sad moment, and we will win this, and as far as I'm concerned, we already have won it.
Now, to be very clear, he has not yet, but he could, fair and square, potentially without taking any legal action, without going all the way to the Supreme Court, because so many votes are still being counted. And this is something that the vice president alluded to when he spoke right after the president last night. Mike Pence said that him and the president had not won yet, but that they were well on the path to victory.
While the votes continue to be counted, we're going to remain vigilant, as the president said. The right to vote has been at the center of our democracy since the founding of this nation, and we're going to protect the integrity of the vote.
Well, the president and vice president made those remarks around 2:30 in the morning in front of about 400 of his supporters inside the White House. They'd been waiting for them all night, and even though the race is still too close to call, they definitely had something to celebrate because there was no blue wave. Republicans on Capitol Hill exceeded expectations, and Trace and Sandra, once again, President Trump proved those pollsters wrong. Trace, Sandra?
A whole lot more on all that coming up. Kristen Fisher, thank you. Trace?
Meantime, Joe Biden is waiting for the remaining results from his home in Delaware with 6 critical battleground states too soon to call. The former VP says he's got a good feeling about this. It's not over until every vote is counted. Griff Jenkins is live for us in Wilmington. Griff, is Biden expected to make an appearance today? It's not over until every vote
Hey, Trace, good morning to you. It's certainly a possibility. Things are really fluid here here right now, and we suspect that if he does indeed make remarks, it'll be prompted by some movement in the numbers of those races you just mentioned, those 6 swing states, and some movement there. Let's show you those. Remember, it's that Rust Belt trio, as you mentioned, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, which amounts to 46 electoral votes. Then you've got Georgia, North Carolina, and Nevada. Now, we got very little notice last night. I was here shortly after 12:30 when the pool got rustled because there were cars here in the parking lot, and then all of a sudden, the former Veep showed up. He took the stage, and he was very optimistic about the results he had seen so far. Watch.
We're confident about Arizona. That's a turnaround. We also just called it for Minnesota, and we're still in the game in Georgia, although that's not one we expected. And we're feeling real good about Wisconsin and Michigan. And by the way, it's going to take time to count the votes. We're going to win Pennsylvania.
Well, we'll see about Pennsylvania, and it's likely not going to be called for several more days. But in some of those other states, the former Veep is leading by narrow margins, roughly 8,000 votes in Nevada, 20,000 in Wisconsin. Now, in another development overnight, after the president spoke and claimed victory, as Kristen just laid out, Biden's campaign manager, Jen O'Malley Dillon, put out a pretty strong statement slamming those comments, saying, quote, "The president's statement tonight about trying to shut down the counting of duly cast ballots was outrageous, unprecedented, and incorrect." Now, when I mentioned the movement could prompt remarks, remember with the 238 tally that Biden has going right there, you only need 32 more to get to that magic number of 270. And that's why behind me you have the Secret Service still having things locked down. There are no cars, there are no supporters out here, but certainly the footprint of the Secret Service and protective detail here is such that very quickly the Vice President can take that stage behind me and perhaps declare victory or a concession, depending on which way it goes. Trace?
Yeah, 32 to go, Griff, but those are a tough 32. Griff Jenkins live for us in Wilmington. Griff, thank you. Well, now to some hotly contested congressional races. Republicans fending off a blue wave and maintaining control of the Senate while Democrats hold the House. But the Democrats flipped 2 Senate seats. In Colorado, former Democratic Governor John Hickenlooper unseating Republican Senator Cory Gardner. And Democrat Mark Kelly, the former astronaut married to former Congresswoman Gabby Giffords, unseating Republican Senator Martha McSally in Arizona. McSally replaced John McCain after his passing in 2018. In Iowa, Republican Senator Joni Ernst is projected to defeat Democratic challenger Teresa Greenfield. Meantime, Michigan Senate race between incumbent Democrat Gary Peters and Republican challenger John James still too early to call. Same goes for North Carolina's race between incumbent Republican Tom Tillis and Democratic challenger Cal Cunningham.
All right, for more on all this, let's bring in Darren Shaw from the Fox News Decision Desk. Darren, great to have you here this morning. I know it's been a long night, but we want to pick your brain when we go through this electoral map, because as we know, the number that we're watching, 270, is the number of electoral votes that is needed to win. Here is the map. The gray states, of course, are those key battleground states that have yet to be called. And Darren, can you give us an update on some of these, especially North Carolina this morning? Still too close to call here, 94% of the vote in. Donald Trump leading by more than 50% in that state. Do we expect to call this state soon?
Well, North Carolina has been a bit of a mystery to us because, as you mentioned, we're about 6% shy of the expected vote. And, you know, we don't have as strong a sense in North Carolina of where that remaining vote is as we do in other states. So, for instance, we feel pretty confident about where we think the race is going to wind up in Wisconsin and in Michigan. But in Carolina, you know, our geographic models and our partisan models that take into account where the outstanding vote is, they're a little ambivalent here. So we're not sure. Right now, Trump has a narrow lead. It's not clear that Biden has an obvious pathway in North Carolina, but the data just aren't ripe. We're not quite there on a call, and they've been a little ambiguous about when exactly they're going to update their counts. So we're, like you guys, we're just waiting here, sitting tight on North Carolina.
Really interesting. I'm going to dive into Wisconsin in just a second, because I know that you have been talking about some of those counties that Hillary Clinton led in 2016, where Joe Biden's leading by a wider margin now, but also the same for Trump. Some of those counties that he was able to claim victory back in 2016, he's leading by a wider margin there. I'll dive in there in a second. But Nevada, will you be able to call this state in the next couple of hours?
We've just got an update. We're following, like you guys, some of the election official secretaries. A call then, but Nevada is another place. Unlike some of these other states where we have a strong sense of where the vote's going to come from and therefore how it's going to break, in Nevada, it looks like it's coming from all over the state. It's not just coming from Vegas or Reno. There's a lot of vote in the balance of the state. It's coming from all over the state. It's not just coming from Vegas or Reno. There's a lot of vote in the balance of the state. So that's a narrow Biden lead. I think it's like 8,000 votes or so. It could expand to about 10,000, but that's a little iffy to make a call. So we're sitting tight. We're going to wait for that, hopefully, last tranche of data to come in from Nevada.
All right, back to the board here. When looking at Wisconsin, as I mentioned, some of those key counties that you're watching from 2016, especially Kenosha, where you see the president 51+% of the vote in that county, leading by a wider, sorry, I just clicked on Racine. Here we go. Kenosha. The president 51% of the vote there, leading by a wider margin than he was in 2016. You move a bit further north, and you've been watching Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. Again, a county that Hillary Clinton secured in 2016 that Joe Biden has managed to secure a wider margin of victory so far. What can you tell us about being able to call Wisconsin anytime soon?
Wisconsin seems like they're just about done collecting data. And I believe the latest, and Senator, you might have, at this point I've been in the pod for about 5 minutes, so you may have more recent data than I do. But we think the Biden lead is about 20,000, I believe at last check. Look at your monitor, yeah, about 20,000 votes. It seems to us like, well, let's just say you'd certainly rather be in Biden's position than in Trump's position right now. There's still some outstanding vote, but we think most of that is mail-in balloting, and as you know, the mail-in balloting in especially these upper Midwest states has had a decidedly pro-Biden slant to it. So I think it's possible that Biden lead may even increase a little bit, but again, in a race like this where a call has such consequences in shaping the news and how people are viewing the election, we're gonna make sure it's coming from where we think it's going to be coming from.
All right, and by the way, I just want to pull up Brown County, home to Green Bay, Wisconsin, where President Trump, 53% of the vote there, and to your point, it was a difference of about 20,000 votes. So we'll continue to watch that state. I want to go into Michigan now because obviously this is one of the big battlegrounds that we are watching. What can you tell us as far as Wayne County? 62% of the vote, last I looked, was in for Wayne County. How crucial is that, the Detroit area in Michigan? What are you watching there?
You've hit the nail on the head, Senator, that if people are looking at this right now, you notice that the president is leading. And we, of course, in the decision team got a lot of blowback last night for some states where, like Virginia, for instance, where we had an early call, where people said, well, I'm looking at the screen and the president's winning decidedly. Well, two factors. Where is the outstanding vote located? And is it election day vote or is it mail-in vote? So those two factors come together in Michigan. A lot of vote remaining from very pro-democratic places like Wayne, and a lot of that vote is mail-in vote, which skews even more heavily to Biden. Right? So even though the president maintains the lead and it's going to be a close race, we expect that to narrow considerably. When they release those data, we think we're going to get more data from Wayne and some other counties relatively early this morning, so we may have some clarity in Michigan by around noon.
Good information. Here's Wayne County, just pulled it up. Obviously, the southeastern corner of the state, a cluster of those blue counties that we will be watching as they come in. Darren, while I have you, can I take you into the what if board? Because we're playing around with those electoral votes and wondering what the paths to victory are for both candidates. And if you're saying right now, and you're hearing from from the Trump campaign as well, that they're still feeling good about North Carolina and Georgia, is it fair to play around with this scenario at this point, knowing those states aren't called, Darren, to give Georgia, North Carolina to President Trump? That brings him to 244 on the map. He's leading in Pennsylvania, although we know the situation. I'm waiting on all of those early votes to be counted. You tack on a Pennsylvania, and all he would have to do then, which would still be a big one, is to secure Wisconsin for the win there without having to win Michigan with the 16 electoral votes there. What kind of scenarios are you playing around with?
Well, one I did mention, Sandra, is you go back to your board, don't forget about Alaska. Trump has a significant lead in the early votes that we've got there. Alaska's a tricky state because it's so big and there's a robust mail-in program, but you're talking about getting ballots in from all of these rural areas and from Native American lands and stuff like that. But remember, that's another 3 electoral votes that look to be leaning Trump at this point. But if you go to that board, and I believe at this point, if you give, let's set aside Georgia, which I think is going to continue to narrow, but I agree with you that it's certainly plausible the president could hold on there, and North Carolina, where he clearly has a lead, I think. If you go Nevada to Biden, if you go Wisconsin to Biden, and you go Michigan to Biden, right, I believe, let's see.
So you got Pennsylvania to Biden at this point, are you playing in?
If that clearly would put him over the, and you know, then I don't believe he would actually have to have Pennsylvania. But you can check me on the math on that. Things are sort of moving quickly and by the minute as we continue to get data here.
Darren, I got to leave it there, but just a few second answer. When do we know who wins this race? That is the question.
I know. I wish I could give you something better. I do think we'll have some clarity by the early afternoon, and I think it's important.
All right, Darren Shaw, I really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
My pleasure.
And keep it up on Fox News for up-to-the-date, up-to-the-minute coverage on this closely contested race for the White House. Our special coverage will continue this morning with Brett Baer and Martha McCallum. That kicks off at 11 a.m. Eastern Time right here on the Fox News channel. It is now election week, Trace.
Yeah, I checked his math. His math is correct. It would be 270 for Joe Biden with those states you just mentioned. Meantime, new election results are coming in, getting both President Trump and Joe Biden closer to 270 with all eyes on 6 big swing states. One of them, of course, Pennsylvania. Its 20 electoral votes could determine the winner. A look at where the race stands in the critical battleground state is next.
Most importantly, we're winning Pennsylvania by a tremendous amount. These aren't even close.
America's Newsroom is brought.
One of my favorite supplements is Quinol turmeric. Turmeric helps with healthy joints and inflammation support. Unlike regular turmeric supplements, Quinol's superior absorption helps me get the full benefits of turmeric. Quinol is the turmeric brand I trust.
that's interesting. I want to put up, this is what your governor said, and he's saying, quoting here, let's be clear, this is a partisan attack on Pennsylvania's elections, our votes and democracy. He's talking about the lawsuits against Pennsylvania. Our counties are working tirelessly to process votes as quickly and as accurately as possible. Pennsylvania will have a fair election, and we will count every vote. Do you expect litigation to slow this process, to potentially stop this process?
You know, the governor has to say what he did because he knows that his Secretary of the Commonwealth used their official positions to repeatedly change the rules, including less than 12 hours before the election itself. This process from the beginning has not applied an even standard to everyone in Pennsylvania. They have not followed the Constitution, they've not followed the statute, and that's the key. To get unity in this nation and our state, one fair standard needs to be applied equally to all of the voters and all of the counties, not just those the governor and the secretary prefer.
Timeline, Mr. Tavis, I gotta go, but do you have a timeline? When are the votes gonna be counted? Very quickly.
I don't think we'll have our done until next week, till maybe Monday or Tuesday.
Lawrence Tavis, thank you for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Joe Biden, on his part, saying he's confident about the outcome of this election.
We're going to have to be patient until the hard work of tallying votes is finished. And it ain't over till every vote is counted, every ballot is counted.
That is for sure. Poll workers, Pennsylvania resumed ballot counting this morning. We will have updates as soon as we get them. Plus, we are watching the U.S. stock market reaction after Election Day as investors wait for final results from several of those key battleground states. There's the electoral map. Stu Varney will join us for the opening bell moments from now.
Do you know the beautiful secret of gold? Today, more.
Buy the award-winning Z-Shield today. Call the number on your screen or visit tryzshield.com right now for our best TV offer. Z-Shield has thousands of reviews and smiles from happy customers.
Z-Shield is great for our restaurant employees, especially when they're preparing and serving food.
Facial expression is such a big part of everyday communication.
Be the shield at tryzshield.com.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow. Towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with a nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. I mean, this is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work. What a concept.
I really love the towels. They're really great. They're super absorbent.
Go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen right now. The new MyPillow towels are exclusively made with 100% USA combed cotton with proprietary technology and with maximum absorbency. They dry you faster and are guaranteed to work. And listen to this. Use the promo code on your screen and Mike will include a second full towel set with bath towel, hand towel, and washcloth absolutely free. That's 2 MyPillow towel sets for the price of 1 in your choice of color.
I personally guarantee they're going to be the best towels you'll ever own.
Order now.
Meet the Ninja Foodi Air Fry Oven. Make family-sized meals fast. And because it's a Ninja Foodi, it can do things no other oven can, like flip away. The Ninja Foodi Air Fry Oven, the oven that crisps and flips away.
It's every municipal bond investor's dream. A bright, shining city on a hill where there won't be any financial problems. But what if there are? That's why Assured Guarantee protects your principal and interest payments. Assured Guarantee, a stronger bond.
The race for the White House is still up in the air, and that means uncertainty on Wall Street. As you can see, 30 seconds into trading, day after Election Day, Dow up 233. Let's bring in Stuart Varney, the anchor at Varney & Company, and he joins us now live on his show. And Stuart, great to be with you the day after Election Day 2020. I want to get your big picture thoughts this morning, knowing that we don't have an outcome of this race yet.
Okay, big picture is this. We have a very close race, which will probably come down to 4 battleground states. We don't have results from those states yet, but they may come fairly soon. In the absence of a clear winner, the other big positive about this election is that the Republicans, and I'm talking about a positive for Wall Street now, the Republicans keep control of the Senate, and that is extremely important. With them in control of the Senate, you're not going to see a big tax increase on American business. You may see a nice stimulus package, but you're not going to see a tax increase, and that matters a lot to Wall Street. If there's no big tax increase, then you don't have to worry about that hitting your bottom line if you're a major corporation. That's why big tech is off and running big time this morning. Of course, they're also a source of safety. They've got no growth in the future. They've got a ton of money in the bank, so there is a flight to the safety in uncertain times right to big tech. That's what's happening right now, Sandra.
That is fascinating because we saw this huge sell-off in October, right, Stuart? And then in recent days, we've seen the rally happening. And everybody was trying to understand where Wall Street stood on predictions for this race. And here we are this morning, the morning after Election Day, and we still have yet to call several of these major battleground states, Stuart. So as we work our way through the day, through the week, could we see Wall Street still trying to predict one way or another, whether it is Trump or Biden, or have they decided?
No, I don't think Wall Street has decided. In fact, we've just reported a reversal in the betting market. You know, you can put your own money on the line here. You can bet on who you think is going to win. You're risking your own money, so that bet has meaning. Well, we've got a reversal. About, say, 3 hours ago, the betting market favored a Trump win. That's completely reversed. The betting market now thinks that Biden has a 76% chance of winning. That's a complete reversal. So the betting market has made up its mind. Biden's going to win. The stock market has made up its mind that there is no Republican loss in the Senate or loss of control in the Senate, and that's pushing prices up. It's a fascinating situation here. There are plenty of winners, there are plenty of losers. I would say that socialism has lost. The idea that you're going to get some kind of socialist revolution in America, that's gone down the drain. That is not going to happen. I think Chuck Schumer has lost. He is still the minority leader in the Senate. I think Michael Bloomberg has lost. He spent $1 billion on trying to get elected, $100 million trying to get Florida to go for Biden. He's lost it all, and he's got nothing to show for it. So there's some winners and there's some losers, depending on which standpoint you want to take.
And Stuart, you and I have spoken so many times over the years about America reaching energy independence, something that we have seen happen. And then you saw on the debate stage in this election cycle and all the discussions over fracking and whether or not the Biden-Harris ticket would put an end to it. And that played a big part in what we are seeing develop in the state of Pennsylvania. I just wonder, Stuart, when it comes to the economy and you look at these key battlegrounds, especially up north, Wisconsin, Michigan, and the big one, Pennsylvania, how you saw that playing out.
Well, I'm interested in Pennsylvania because, as you say, fracking was very much in the news. And as things stand, I think with about 76% of the vote counted, the president has a 677,000 lead over Joe Biden in Pennsylvania. But the votes that are still to be counted come from largely urban areas, which will favor Joe Biden, and that may make up the 677,000 deficit that Biden currently has in Pennsylvania. You're not going to get a result out of Pennsylvania until probably the end of the week, maybe Saturday, or maybe even longer, depending on court processes. But that Pennsylvania race is absolutely fascinating, and fracking was right in the middle of it.
And Michigan just went lean Biden, according to our decision desk. And so if you play around with the 270 scenario, Trace and I were just talking, he was pointing out, Darren Shaw, that Wisconsin, Michigan, if Biden secures those, and they should be calling Nevada soon if that goes Biden, that is a path to victory for Joe Biden. Of course, then if one of those, Michigan or Wisconsin, does not go Biden, he would need Pennsylvania. And Stu, I don't have to tell you, that's when things get really messy if they are down to that.
Very messy.
Stuart, it is great to catch up with you day after Election Day. Good to see you.
Thank you, Sandra.
Thank you.
Let's get back to your money. Check.
And speaking of Pennsylvania, ballot counting is now underway in Pennsylvania, where President Trump promises to take the state to the Supreme Court over mail-in votes. The president leads Joe Biden with nearly 55% of the votes in the state he flipped red in 2016. The senior correspondent Eric Shawn live for us in Philadelphia. And Eric, strong words from the governor on the election.
That's right, Trace. Already there's a Republican lawsuit. They are counting in the building behind me. And as you said, the Democratic governor of Pennsylvania strikes back at President Trump. The governor, Tom Wolf, in Harrisburg said basically that the president is issuing baseless claims about this election supposedly being stolen. The governor tweeted in part, quote, "Let's be clear. This is a partisan attack on Pennsylvania elections, our votes, and our democracy. Pennsylvania will have a fair election, and we will count every vote." The defense comes as Republicans have already filed a lawsuit against a county right outside of Philadelphia. Republican congressional candidate Kathy Barnett, who challenged incumbent Democratic Representative Madeleine Dean, who, by the way, won her re-election, is suing the Montgomery County Board of Elections for helping voters with their ballots. Barnett wants 1,200 ballots tossed, but the county says it only helped 49 voters correct mistakes that they made on their mail-in ballots. Barnett claims that violates state election law. A hearing is set in federal court this hour. Here in Philadelphia, Republican poll watcher Gary Feldman was at first denied entrance to a polling place yesterday, even though he was certified by officials to do that. Had a misunderstanding, and he eventually was permitted to go inside to observe the vote. Let's look back live now here at the Philadelphia Convention Center, where they're still counting the votes. 65,000 votes were added overnight, but you know they still have more than 1 million votes to go.
We're still doing everything. It's just a reporting of. We can't load any more numbers into our system until we're done with the machines. So everything is going. The ballots are being, the envelopes are being opened, everything's going. We just can't report it out into the system until we're done with the machine portion.
Election officials insist that they are processing the votes in a fair, legal, transparent, and honest manner. Trace?
Eric Shawn live for us in Philadelphia. Eric, thank you.
6 key states still too close to call at this hour as the nation and the world await the final results of the presidential election. A look at what sent voters to the polls with our Fox News voter analysis. Plus, we will break down the results in Florida next.
There's never been anything like it. To support our incredible movement, we won states that we weren't expected to win. Florida, we didn't win it. We won it by a lot.
We made U.S.
So
his family needs it. With hassle-free claims, he got paid before his neighbor even got started. Because doing right by our members, that's what's right. USAA. What you're made of, we're made for.
You may know Mount Rushmore, but that's only the beginning of South Dakota's beauty. Mountain carvings and breathtaking landscapes are just some of what's waiting to be discovered. When the time is right for you, our great places are open for adventure. I'm Governor Kristi Noem. Now more than ever, those great places can bring us together. And I can promise you, it'll be a vacation to remember. To learn how to explore South Dakota safely, visit our website.
We missed out on a lot this year.
But I am not missing out on the holidays.
We could all use more cheer.
I got some really cute stuff from Overstock.
I had to get the accent pillows, y'all. So excited!
This rug feels so festive.
Look at these.
Free shipping on everything.
The big stuff,
the small stuff,
the cozy stuff.
This year, Overstock is your partner in cheer, making sure the most wonderful time of the year is the most wonderful yet. Overstock, where quality costs less. Shop early during our pre-Black Friday.
Tired of overpaying for your prescriptions? Try Optum Perks. It's a new way to save up to 80%, and everyone can do it.
It's from Optum, a healthcare company that's trusted by millions of people.
You don't have to sign up for anything. Just go to Optum.
Her devoted husband. Without him, things were tough. Her last option was to sell her home, but her home meant everything to her. Her husband had been a high school football coach, and it turned out one of his former players came up with an answer, a loan created just for older homeowners. And pretty soon, Nellie Young had one of the first reverse mortgages.
Discover if a reverse mortgage loan is right for you. Use it to eliminate monthly mortgage payments and increase cash flow. Create an emergency fund, preserve retirement savings, and more. Call now for your free information kit. Call 800-304-1758.
That first reverse mortgage loan meant Nellie could stay in the home she loved so much, with memories that meant even more. A reverse mortgage loan isn't some kind of trick to take your home. It's a loan, and it's tax-free cash just when you need it. It's about making your retirement better.
Call today and find out more in AAG's free, no-obligation reverse mortgage loan guide. Access tax-free cash and stay in a home you love.
Of course, you can use it to pay some bills, cover medical costs, update or repair your home, but best of all, it eliminates those monthly mortgage payments so you get more cash in your pocket every month.
Learn how you can use a reverse mortgage loan to cover your expenses, pay for health care, preserve retirement savings, and so much more.
A lot's changed since 1961. Since then, over 1 million older Americans have used a reverse mortgage loan to finance their retirement. It meant so much to Nellie. Maybe it can mean as much to you.
Call now and get your free info kit. Call 800-304-1758.
Well, President Trump and Joe Biden locked in a very close race. Millions of votes still being counted in some key battleground states. Let's bring in our panel. Guy Benson is host of The Guy Benson Show, a political editor at townhall.com, and a Fox News contributor. Richard Fowler is also a Fox News contributor. Guy was up with us late last night, Richard, so please take it easy on him. You know, it's interesting here, Guy, because you look at this, and it really is. The numbers show this was a referendum on the president. I want to put these on the screen. You can see here Fox News voter analysis showing that for those who support President Trump, 79% of his supporters voted for the president, where you look at the next poll, and for those who voted for Joe Biden, only 49% actually voted for Joe Biden, 51% voted against Donald Trump. Guy, what does that tell you?
Well, good morning, Trace. Long time no see. I hope you enjoyed your nap. I sort of did. Look, this was going to be a referendum race on President Trump's leadership. That is what the Democrats wanted it to be, and President Trump was more than happy to lean into it, and that's exactly what we got. And what's interesting is it looks like we're on track to have the highest voter turnout in terms of percentage of the electorate since the turn of the century. Not this century, last one, 1900. So there's this huge passion in this race, and most of it on both sides was surrounding one central figure, and that was President Donald Trump. And it looks like he's going to receive millions already. He has millions more votes than he did in 2016. There was really significant Republican turnout. Joe Biden's going to build on Hillary Clinton's numbers and go beyond them, beat President Trump in at least the national vote, it looks like. So sometimes it's a case of be careful what you wish for. And if you're a Republican, this race can still go either way. But you start thinking about, okay, if this were a race happening without coronavirus as the backdrop, and there were a referendum on President Trump, I think it's hard to argue that he wouldn't have won perhaps handily last night. Of course, that's not the reality that we live in, but this was a race at the very top that was all about one man, although down ballot, maybe a little more complicated than that.
Yeah, and Richard, look, it's a fair point because Joe Biden kind of adopted the strategy of saying, you know, this is the wrong guy to be the president of the United States. So what are your thoughts on how this, you know, how the perception of Joe Biden and President Trump came out?
Listen, just like you and Guy, I was on Fox News until about 4, but I agree with Guy, so I will copy and paste everything that Guy said. And what I will add to that is this. I think, you know, this was a referendum on the president, and as a result, voters voted against him. But where Guy is right is what you see them doing down ballot is it looks like the American people want some level of divided government. And maybe that's what that's going to have a Senate that is seriously controlled by Republicans, so there can actually be something done that both Democrats can agree on. We can get to some sort of semblance of level. But I think it's very important to realize that the biggest issue that Donald Trump faced in this election, I think that his campaign sort of failed to deal with, was the coronavirus, this global pandemic, and the impact that it had on the American voter. And as a result of ignoring that and that denialism, he likely it might cost him this election.
I want to get this in because switching topics a little bit, because we talked about this a lot last night. Everybody talked about this a lot because it was a big deal. And we're talking about the Cuban-American vote that came out of Miami-Dade County. Guy, I want to put this on the screen. 41% Cuban voters turned the tide in Florida. 41% for the former vice president. 58% for President Trump. And it really does show, you know, since day one when he got into office, he was trying to court Cuban Americans, Venezuelan Americans, and it apparently boded well for him, Guy.
Yeah, I would first say it's not just Florida and Cubans and Venezuelans. President Trump and a lot of really key places in Texas overperformed with Hispanics. So the map was shuffled a little bit and the demographics were shuffled in, I think, ways that are counterintuitive to a lot of the people who are in the supposed smart set. As for Florida, there were a drumbeat of stories out of South Florida, Miami-Dade over the last couple weeks saying the Democrats are pushing the panic button. They are very concerned about what they're seeing in South Florida. And President Trump racked up a really impressive victory in that state because of South Florida. Bottom line, socialism does not play with people who have escaped socialism.
Richard, let me give you the last word here, 10 seconds. Are you surprised? Were you think Democrats surprised at the showing among Latinos for the president?
Look, I'm from Fort Lauderdale, the bordering county to Miami-Dade, and I think Guy is right. I think that we have to understand the Latino vote is not a monolith, right? And Cuban Americans and Venezuelan Americans, that socialism message has resonated very well with them. What you also have in Arizona is Joe Biden's message resonated very well. So we're going to have to really recalculate as a party how we talk to Latinx voters and communicate with them on the issues that they care about.
Yeah, it's a very good point. It's very accurate, Richard. Richard Fowler, Guy Benson.
Latinx.
Yeah, good to see you both. Thank you.
They were lively.
They were
morning
awake.
after Election Day, awake. Several battleground states still too close to call this morning as mail-in ballots are being counted in Philadelphia. We're going to take you to the Keystone State next.
Did you know you can go to Liberty?
Sarah Sanders have must-see reaction to the critical race on the next Hannity.
There was a time when this represented the future. But this is the future. The future of communicating, of hearing, and connecting with life. And this is Eargo. No appointments, no waiting, no hassles. And they're practically invisible in your ear. Now you see it, now you don't. If you have hearing loss, now is the time to do something about it.
For Veterans Day, everyone gets $200 off Eargo Neo Hi-Fi. Veterans get 20% off Eargo Neo Hi-Fi.
You won't see these folks at the post office. They have businesses to grow, customers to care for, lives to get home to. They use Stamps.com. Print discounted postage for any letter, any package, anytime, right from your computer. Get the services of the post office, plus UPS at up to 62% off. Get our special TV offer, a 4-week trial, plus postage and a digital scale. Go to Stamps.com/save and never go to the post office again.
Here's important information for anyone with an annuity or structured settlement. It's your right to sell all or part of your annuity payments for the cash you need now.
Filadelfia.